He was on his way to becoming one of Hollywood's brightest stars, with acclaim for his dramatic performances and a promising future as a Marvel villain. But now actor Johnathan Majors is facing the possibility of up to a year in jail after a conviction on misdemeanor reckless assault and harassment in connection with an altercation involving his then-girlfriend. He sat down exclusively with me for his first interview since his arrest, discussing the relationship at the center of the trial, the role that he says race played, and why he didn't take the stand.
Hey, what it is, what it do, it's your boy Big Baby coming at you with another reaction video. This time we looking at Johnathan Majors. He recently was charged with aggravated assault, misdemeanor, and a violation of harassment. And due to the new charges, he's lost his contracts with Disney and Marvel as well. After charges were announced, nobody's really heard or seen Johnathan Majors until now. This will be his first interview since the charges was released, and let's see what he has to say, shall we?
You know, I haven't seen my daughter in a long time. You know, and a lot of it has to do with this situation. It all has to do with this situation, and she needs to see this, and. The hard things need to be done, but it's been hard. You know, everything's kind of gone away.
The 34-year-old actor was a rising star.
Let's stop it right there. I just want to say it's outrageous how he's being blackballed. By now, everyone has probably seen the footage that's going worldwide of him actually running from the victim down the middle of the New York City streets. But unfortunately, the evidence did not sway the judge's opinion, and he still was charged with the different crimes. I feel for Johnathan and his family, but unfortunately, we've seen this time and time again where big success can be easily taken down by small feats. But let's go ahead and get back into it.
This is our family story.
Known for his roles in HBO's Lovecraft Country, Creed 3,
I'm coming for everything.
and Marvel productions like last year's Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania.
You're an interesting man. Scott Lang.
And it was on that movie set back.
Stop the show, stop the show, stop the show. Black men, we have got to stop this. Every time we get successful, get a bit of power, get high up in the league, they go and get them a white woman. Not just any white woman. One of the ugliest white women we ever will see. It's a shame. And I have nothing against white women, or any race of women at that. But I was told if you do better, then you do better. And that means in every aspect.
In 2021, where he met 30-year-old British dancer Grace Jabari. The pair dated until March of 2023, when Majors called 911 the day after a fight that was caught on surveillance video.
What happened exactly? Do you know?
No, I don't know. But she's unconscious. She's my ex-partner. We broke up. I came back. She sent me text messages insinuating this much. I stayed in a hotel last night. I came home this morning.
Police found Jabari on the closet floor of their apartment. Majors was arrested by New York City police, accused by Jabari of assault, strangulation, and harassment, convicted last month, but acquitted of 1 count of assault and 1 count of aggravated harassment, meaning the jury didn't believe he assaulted her intentionally.
Your reaction to that verdict?
Shock. I was absolutely shocked, and afraid. I'm standing there, and the verdict comes down. I say, how is that possible? Based off the evidence, based off the prosecution's evidence, let alone our evidence. How is that possible?
After the verdict, in a statement, Jabari's attorney wrote in part, "Justice was finally served today, proving that the truth can prevail even in the face of power. Grace did not choose to be in this situation. Grace has been publicly attacked as a result of her courage to testify to the truth, but her unwavering resolve to see this case through to the end was born out of her desire to give other survivors similar courage when justice requires."
Now, the situation is kind of tricky because Johnathan says that he had got a hotel that night and was trying to stay as far away from her as possible because they had broken up. I don't know what happened. I don't know the situation, and I wasn't there. I just know you shouldn't put your hands on a female. And if a male even feels like putting his hands on a female, you should do the right thing and get out of the situation, leave, go somewhere else if need be. But let's get back into it.
The prosecution has described your relationship with Grace Jabari as tumultuous and abusive. How would you describe that 2-year relationship?
I loved Grace. Our relationship was, it was not healthy, you know, and that began to reveal itself over time, but there was no abuse.
In court, Jabari claimed she sustained head injuries, but never said how she received them. Entered into evidence these partially redacted text messages from September of 2022. Majors writes, "It's just fake. And I fear you have no perspective of what could happen if you go to the hospital. They will ask you questions, and as I don't think you actually protect us, it could lead to an investigation, even if you do lie and they suspect something." Jabari responds in part, "I will tell the doctor I bumped my head. If I go, I'm going to give it one more day, but I can't sleep and I need some stronger painkillers. That's all. Why would I want to tell them what really happened when it's clear I want to be with you?"
This is literally a nightmare. I don't know what happened. I don't know what injuries you're talking about.
The July incident, 2022, where she says you started throwing things, including a candle. Tell us what happened there.
You know, we were in an argument. I was on the other side of the room, away from her, as I think she testified. And by my bedside table, I did a sweep, and I knocked over my candles. I completely lost my temper in that moment and threw it all on the ground. What she also said is that afterwards I wept and cried in the corner and said I was sorry and this. And I was, and I am.
The prosecution said you allegedly wrote, "I'm a monster, a horrible man not capable of love. I'm killing myself soon. I've already put things in motion." Were you suicidal?
I've been diagnosed with severe depression, you know, and I'm taking the steps needed to alleviate, you know, some of those symptoms, ideations of removing myself from situations permanently.
Mental health is real, people, and it can happen to anybody, no matter how big your pockets is, how small. The way he describes a relationship, it sounds like a typical relationship, but somewhere it went wrong and got physical. But where I have the problem is that the evidence clearly leans more his side, and the prosecutor still sided with the female at the end of the day. I feel bad for the brother, but this is the wicked world we live in, and this is what we deal with every day.
Is a thought that I've had, since I was a kid.
It all came to a head in March of last year when Jabari and Majors got into a fight, much of it captured on surveillance video and used as evidence in the trial. Jabari testified that it all began when Majors received a text from another woman. He says it read, "Oh, how I wish to be kissing you." So let's go back to March 25th for a moment. You and then girlfriend Grace Jabari are in the backseat of a chauffeured car. She sees a text from another woman. Things seem to spiral from there. Yeah. What happened next?
Yeah, the text from another woman. Again, I said at the beginning, you know, I did that. I cop to it. I show her, right? It's in my hand. She grabs it. We scuffle for the phone. I pull the phone back. I receive my injuries. I open the door. I step out. She comes. Then one of the biggest mistakes of my life. I pick her up. I put her back in the car. I'm trying to get rid of her. I'm trying to get away from her. As the video shows, you know. Everything calms. We get out. We walk across the street. I escort her across the street. The moment we get across the street, she grabs me. She goes for the phone. I release. I get free of her and I run.
For blocks?
Yeah, for blocks.
Surveillance video also shows Jabari talking to 3 strangers. She testified they offered to get her home. One of the bystanders can be seen speaking to Majors, who gestures for Jabari to get back into the car. He eventually leaves without her and goes to a hotel for the night. Jabari leaves with the bystanders. She says inside the car, you hit her in the face, twist her arm behind her back, fracture her middle finger.
Yeah, that did not happen.
I also want to stop it right there. Keep in mind, the Uber driver also testified that he also didn't witness any of that happening. He did witness him trying to push her back into the truck and then take off running. You can tell by the video that this chick is fighting to stay next to him or stay with him and is not fighting to get away from him. That's why I feel like prosecutors had it wrong. Let's continue.
What happened?
She went to grab the phone. I held the phone. I pulled the phone back. She came on top of me, squeezed my face, slapped me. That's all I remember.
So she ends up with a 1-inch cut behind her ear.
Laceration, yes, ma'am.
Fractured finger.
Yeah.
How did those injuries come about?
I wish to God I knew. That would give clarity. That would give me some type of peace about it.
But you're confident you didn't.
I have no question.
What's interesting about the jury's verdict, it's so nuanced because they're saying you didn't intend to injure her.
Right.
But the result of your recklessness injured her.
Right.
And this is what a lot of people was pointing out. This is the first time we ever heard a courtroom say you're getting charges based off of what you didn't intend to do.
Were you reckless?
I was reckless with her heart.
Not with her body.
Not with her body.
But never hit a woman.
Never hit a woman. My hands have never struck a woman, ever. When the actual testimony came, the driver said, she did everything, meaning Grace. He did nothing, referring to myself.
Majors claims Jabari attacked him, ripping his coat, scratching his face and arm. These are photos he says are of his injuries, but were deemed inadmissible in court.
My injuries were a scratch on my hand, from clawing for the phone, and I had a gash on my, at the time I had a beard. Under my beard I had essentially a fingernail scratch on my cheek from pressure,
You chose not to take the witness stand. Why?
Yes, ma'am. The driver.
You felt that was compelling enough. He had said enough.
Well, not just the driver. She was doing everything, he was doing nothing. Well, that's what I was going to say. Mr. Majors, did you see any injuries on her? No, I didn't. Clinical experts, the detective I spoke to, all who testified before I did. But after all of that, what was I going to add?
Johnathan, how do you feel right
During
now?
the trial, an audio recording was presented in court by the prosecution of Johnathan Majors and Grace Jabari during an argument.
How dare you come home drunk and disturb the peace of our house? Coretta Scott King. You know who that is? That's Martin Luther King's wife. Michelle Obama. Barack Obama's wife. My temper, my shit, my travel block, all that said, right? And I'm not saying I'm a great man. A great man. I am doing great things, not just for me, but for my culture and for the world. That is actually the position I'm in. The woman that supports me, that I support, that needs to be a great woman.
Let them know, brother. Tell that woman, you a king. Every once in a while, you got to let a female know you done worked hard and you are where you are, and I am a king, and that's what she's getting told right now.
There are some who question, especially in the black community, as you're probably well aware, that people were saying, well, why was he telling this woman to be like Coretta Scott King and Michelle Obama? Give us like the context of the conversation.
It was me trying to give an analogy of what it is I'm aspiring to be, these great men, Martin, President Obama, and trying to give a reference point to that. I was attempting, and I did a terrible job at it apparently, I was attempting to motivate, to enlighten, to give perspective as into what it is I was hoping to get out of the relationship. I think that's fair.
In her closing argument, your attorney said that your greatest fear of being a black man in America calling 911 came true, suggesting that race was a part of this. Do you feel that race is a part of this?
I mean, yeah, of course it is, you know, like, without question. I mean, that quote-unquote guilty verdict, you know, well, guilty verdict, no quote-unquote, you know, like, you might as well put that on my birth certificate.
You think a white man...
And this is a fact, getting a misdemeanor or a felony is already a tough thing, but there is a certain stigma that comes along with being black and getting a misdemeanor or a felony. It becomes a little harder in life, if you know what I mean.
Facing the same allegations, would have been arrested, charged, convicted?
I'll take it further. If you watch those videos and you reverse that, and you saw a black man chasing a young white girl down the street, screaming and crying, that man is going to be shot and killed in the streets of New York City. That black man will feel that.
Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's office responded saying in part that they do their speaking in court. Jabari's attorney responded to this interview saying it is not at all surprising that Mr. Majors continues to take no accountability for his actions. His denigration of our jury system is not dissimilar from the above-the-law attitude that he has maintained throughout this legal process. The timing of these news statements demonstrates a clear lack of remorse for the actions for which he was found guilty and should make the sentencing decisions fairly easy for the court. Mr. Jabari will continue to speak the truth and seek justice in the appropriate forums in a continued effort to respect our legal process. Grace, as you know, was arrested and charged for assault, but will not face prosecution.
Right.
You have thoughts on that?
That's hurtful. That's really hurtful. And why is it hurtful? Because, again, I know what happened. Movies don't matter. Work don't matter. Yale education doesn't matter. In that moment, what I felt was, oh, I'm nothing.
Throughout the trial, Major's girlfriend, actress Megan Good, was right by his side. She was also present for our conversation. You've mentioned Megan a few times.
Yeah.
We've seen her right by your side, going in and out of court throughout the whole trial.
Yeah.
How would you describe your relationship?
It's a miracle. She's an angel. She's held me down like a Coretta, you know. I'm so blessed to have her, you know. The relationship is still fresh, but, you know, I think I found her, yeah.
The one.
I hope she just stick with me.
Major's career as a rising Hollywood actor is now in limbo. Future appearances playing Kang the Conqueror in the Marvel Cinematic Universe have been scrapped. You hear the verdict. Same day Marvel drops you. Your reaction?
Let's stop it right there. Let's keep in mind that these are not life-stopping charges against him. These charges are quite light. And for Marvel to go all out and drop him, Disney as well, just kind of says something about the label. Majors was actually going to be the next big star in the Marvel universe, and now all of that is just scrapped. That's a bit odd to me.
It's like the world stopped. You know? We worked so hard for that. In that same breath, I thought, that was cool.
Also,
I was super good. And I got to make multiple characters, you know, with a group of people that really cared
deserve a second chance?
And that's going to do it for this one. I hope the brother pulls through and his career ends up in a good position. I can't stress it enough. Keep your hands off of females. Fellas, keep your hands off of females. If anything. Well, thank you for tuning in to the video. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And if you want to see more content like this, write it down in the comments. Until next time, peace. Hey.